And the question I may ask is, why that conversation on a live television? Why that conversation on the day the peace deal is supposed to be signed? All those discussions and conversations are supposed to have taken place before the date for the signing of the peace deal was mentioned. If the president of Ukraine knows that he's not there to sign the peace accord, why did he show up? Why did he come to the Oval Office in the first place? So one begins to wonder and think, is there any other thing beyond this that we need to know? Because if you prepared, knowing fully well that you're not coming to endorse the peace deal, which is primarily the main focus of the day, you shouldn't have flown into the United States. And the United States government see it as an embarrassment for coming to the Oval Office with those kind of attitude, with those kind of confrontations. Hello guys, this is Andy Media TV and I'm welcoming you once again today on Trending Stories. Yesterday, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, met at the Oval Office in the White House to sign a peace deal on how to bring to an end the war between Ukraine and Russia. However, the peace deal, the signing of the peace deal, did not go as planned, as both parties had some kind of disagreement during the conversations that dovetailed the signing of the peace deal. And this conversation took place before the press. And to many, they saw it as something that wasn't too good because of the way and manner the conversation went. And in the midst of the discussion, you have the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, was also there in attendance, and the Ambassador of Ukraine to the United States of America, and other members of the cabinet, like Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, among others. During the conversation that preceded the signing of the peace deal, from what that transpired in the Oval Office, between the U.S. President and the Ukrainian President, I personally observed that there is different objectives for the different parties. Now, let's look at it this way. As for the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, his objective is to immediately bring to an end the war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia. And one of the steps they want to take first was to sign the peace deal, which will bring about a ceasefire between the two countries. When there is a ceasefire, that's when further negotiations can continue. And with that, the continuous death of the people of Ukraine and that of Russia will come to an end. It was estimated that virtually every week, about 2,000 to 3,000 people lost their lives in this war. So, his objective is to stop the consistent death of people of Ukraine and people of Russia. According to Mr. President, he has had series of successful conversations with the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, which he believes that the only thing that is remaining is for the Ukrainian President to be on the same page, and then the peace deal can be signed. And this peace deal involves the United States mining or extracting some of the minerals. And the idea of the President of the United States is that when this peace deal is signed and they are in Ukraine to mine these mineral resources, that it will be very difficult for the country of Russia to invade Ukraine anymore because of the presence of the United States in that country. And with that, there will be lasting peace in the country. But I think that the Ukrainian president is not understanding the full picture of what the peace deal contained. So he wants America to commit that they're going to provide probably the foot soldiers who's going to be on ground in case Russia invades the country. And this is because, according to the Ukrainian president, that President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, has reneged for about 25 times when peace deals are signed. So he did not have that confidence that even if this peace deal is signed, that the Russian president will commit to it. But he forgot that when those peace deal he has reneged from was signed, we are under other different kinds of presidents, the democratic presidents. But this time, it is the Trump presidency, which is a different ballgame altogether. And Trump has pledged his integrity that as far as he's concerned, the president of Russia is not afraid of this president. He's not afraid of their regime at that time. But for now, that the president of Russia respects him. And as far as he is concerned as the president of the United States, that Russia will not invade Ukraine anymore. And you can recall that when he was president for 4 years in his first administration, that there was no war globally. There was global peace. No country was invaded, both in the Middle East and across Europe, until he left the government in 2020. So, President Trump has stand in his position that the only way or the only card the Ukrainian president has is to embrace the peace accord, is to embrace the peace deal. And that is the only time Ukraine will stop the killing and also enjoy peace. So the mineral peace deal they are talking about is simply because the United States government has invested so heavily in the war between Russia and Ukraine. According to Mr. President, they have invested up to $350 billion to support Ukraine to be able to hold on to the war until death. And the President of Ukraine also acknowledged that without the support of the United States, that this war wouldn't have lingered up to today, which is about 3 years. Therefore, Mr. President was not so happy that the Ukrainian president is not even expressing appreciation. Just a common thanks will be more than enough to win the heart of the United States. And also that the funds sent to their country is taxpayers' funds. And they want it back. And that is why the United States want to be part of the mineral extraction in the country so they can recoup, their money back. But the objective of the Ukrainian president is not necessarily to stop the war immediately, but he was so much interested in the United States committing themselves to providing further security in terms of deploying soldiers when there is any invasion by Russia. That the United States president is not interested to commit himself. And the question I may ask is, why that conversation on a live television? Why that conversation on the day the peace deal is supposed to be signed? All those discussions and conversations are supposed to have taken place before the date for the signing of the peace deal was mentioned. If the president of Ukraine knows that he's not there to sign the peace accord, why did he show up? Why did he come to the Oval Office in the first place? So one begin to wonder and think, is there any other thing beyond this that we need to know? Because if you prepared, knowing fully well that you're not coming to endorse the peace deal, which is primarily the main focus of the day, you shouldn't have flown into the United States. And the United States government see it as an embarrassment for coming to the Oval Office with those kind of attitude, with those kind of confrontations, which has never happened in the history of the United States. And based on this fact, the president was able to request that he leaves. That is either he signed the peace deal or the United States is out of the war. And you know what that means? When the United States is out of their war, it means they're going to fight it themselves. And the United States may also decide not to provide further equipment, military equipment to them, including funding. And that's going to hamper their power and capacity to be able to, face Russia. So I think as it stands, that the Ukrainian president is on the edge. And I believe that the president of Russia is also watching. Most Democrats have seen their tweets and posts and videos. We are like, that the president is the lapdog of Vladimir Putin, the Russian president. And that is so funny to hear. Because globally, all leaders knows who Trump is. Trump is a man of his words. Trump is a man of action. When he says something, he goes headlong to do it. That's the kind of person he is. So when somebody is representing him as being a lapdog to the Russian president, that's ridiculous. And Mr. President have said it in the video that as far as he is the president of the United States, he's interested in peace for Ukraine, in peace for Russia, in peace for the world. And he stands with the world. He stands with the American people. He's not a lapdog for anybody and can never be. So I don't know what all these narratives, many people are pushing. I don't know what they want to achieve with that. The focus is how to end the war between Ukraine and Russia. And that is what Mr. President Donald Trump is focused on. Anything outside that is not interested. I want, people to understand that the strength of Ukraine in that war between them and Russia is the United States. When you remove the equipment, remove the financial funding coming from the United States to Ukraine, there's nothing else they can do. So if US withdraw their support, I don't think NATO or the EU gonna be standing with them like the US has been over the years. So it's quite disappointing of what happened at the Oval Office between the US president and the Ukrainian president. In fact, from the video, you can see how unhappy and how uneasy the Ukrainian ambassador to the US looks, was not comfortable with what was happening at the Oval Office. And doing that in front of the press is something to think about. So, Mr. President have said it's either the peace deal or US will be out of whatever fight they have, and they're going to fight it on their own. And I don't think Ukraine going to stand that. So, the United States is not ready to commit their own soldiers into Ukraine to fight for them until the peace deal, the mineral peace deal, is signed. And then the president can be able to go further to do, other things that is necessary. According to him, he said that the issue of the security he's talking about is secondary. That the main security is this peace deal, which brings in United States into Ukraine to do the mineral exploration. And the moment U.S. presence is in Ukraine, that will deter anybody from invading the country. And there have been a lot of talks. Many people, looking at some of the, Democrats talking about the president is a coward, is this, is that. But that's ridiculous, because this war has lingered on for the past 3 years under the democratic leadership of President Joe Biden. And they were even unable to even initiate a peace accord. They were unable to even speak to the president of Russia. For the past 3 years, they did nothing to end the war. All they did was to move billions of dollars of taxpayers' money to Ukraine, and also equipment. And you may recall that the United States have expended over $175 billion to the Ukraine for the war. And the president of Ukraine acknowledged that they have gotten less than $100 billion. So where are the rest? Where are the rest? So these are the issues that is yet to be unveiled. So, and that is what the Dems have been doing. So, Mr. President have made it clear that for the past 3 years, the war has been lingering on, that the Biden administration did not even make one effort to contact Russia and Ukraine to be able to broker peace between them. And that is what this president has done barely for 30-something days of assuming office. And during his campaign, he made the pledge that he's going to work towards restoring peace to Ukraine and Russia. And that's what exactly he's doing right now. So the U.S. need the cooperation of the president of Ukraine to be able to broker this peace accord, so that at the end of the day, it's going to be a win-win for all the parties. Will Zelensky return back? Because the president asked him, when you are ready to make peace, you'll come back to the Oval Office. When will that be? Are you sure he's going to come back? Are you sure they're going to decide to fight the war on their own? If they do you think they have the capacity to be able to prosecute the war between them and Russia? Russia is more sophisticated and advanced. So, how do you think this is going to play out? But before I leave, in this analogy, I just want you to remember that if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to like and share this video. Click on the subscription button so that you can subscribe to my channel to help it to grow. And also, press the notification bell so that once I drop the next video, you will be among those to be notified. And I'm going to see you in my next video. Do have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. I'll be signing out.